getting answers. From Sacramento's most watched late news, this is the CBS 13 News at 10.
Dramatic video of the final moments from a bank robbery and high-speed chase that turned deadly.
You could hear the gunshots. You could hear everything when they were shooting at them and all that.
3 hostages taken during the heist.
And they had the guns to the hostages' heads, and they were petrified.
In the end, 1 hostage and 2 suspects died. Tonight, family friends identify an innocent victim, a wife and mother who was killed.
You don't wake up or go to your job thinking that something like this is going to happen to you.
And tonight we know that the mother killed was a bank customer who the police chief of Stockton says was used as a shield during the shootout. Good evening, I'm Sam Shane.
And I'm Shannon Brenius. This all started about 2:30 this afternoon at the Bank of the West on Thornton Road in Stockton. It ended more than an hour later along Thornton Road and Auto Drive. We have live team coverage, and we start with CBS 13's Nick Janes, who just got some brand new information about this deadly bank heist.
Sam and Shannon, Police Chief Eric Jones said at a news conference that just wrapped up here at City Hall that the robbers had a massive amount of ammunition strapped or taped to their bodies. He says they used the 3rd hostage who died as a shield during the shootout. And he called the 1-hour chase that put so many at risk nearly unfathomable. You're about to see how it ended. Shots ricocheting off the getaway SUV. The suspects and Stockton police exchange a barrage of bullets. A neighbor captured these final moments on his cell phone. Finally, all is silent except the sirens. No movement until police swarmed the SUV. They would find 3 bank robbery suspects. 1 man fatally shot. A 2nd suspect died later. A 3rd was wounded. And a tragic discovery. 1 hostage was killed. Family and friends identify her as Misty Holt Singh, a wife and mother. A bank customer caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. A neighbor ducks for cover to get this video. So many gunshots, they sound like firecrackers.
At least 1,000, maybe more. They're still going right now.
Police say the suspects were shooting at them with this AK-47 style rifle after robbing Bank of the West on Thornton, taking off in an employee's SUV with 2 employees and a customer held hostage. They led police on an hour-long high-speed chase covering both major freeways and surface streets. Stockton Police Chief Eric Jones.
They were trying to kill our police officers because 14 patrol cars being riddled with bullets shows a definite attempt to kill the police officers.
Bullets struck police cars, civilian cars, even people's homes.
Then they went up and down Hammer Lane because my mother-in-law could hear the shots from the back of their house.
Police say 2 hostages were either thrown from or jumped out of the SUV. Sadly, the 3rd hostage didn't make it out alive, caught in the deadly crossfire between police and bank robbery suspects who refused to surrender. It was quite a wild scene. Now, it's important to point out one of the major questions still remaining is when did that hostage die? Police say they're not sure if it happened during that shootout or if it was, in fact, police who shot her or if it was the robbers. They're still trying to figure that out. On a separate note, nearly miraculously, no police officers were injured during this, and investigators are now looking into, they say, whether or not these alleged robbers had parts in other robberies in the area.
Nick, I'm curious, did the chief talk about this idea of firing shots into a vehicle where there was a known hostage? I know many police departments or law enforcement officials won't do that as a policy. I mean, did he touch upon that at all tonight?
Well, the sense that you get from police at this point is that they were being fired upon and they were trying to defend themselves. I don't recall him addressing that specifically, but overall, in an earlier interview with the Stockton Police Public Information Officer, Joey Silva, he defended the department's actions and said the officers did what they had to do and what they needed to do. Again, the big question is we just don't know when that hostage died.
Boy, it's a difficult situation all the way around, Nick. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate that. Now, tonight, we know that those hostages were led out of the bank with guns that were pointed at their heads.
And our CBS 13's Steve Large is live at the Bank of the West branch. He continues our team coverage with one witness's incredible account, Steve.
Shannon and Sam, the crime tape is now down at this Bank of the West branch, and the investigators are gone. But, you know, the memories of what played out inside this branch earlier today will certainly haunt not only the survivors, but all of their family members. And that's certainly true for the one man who I met earlier today who watched it all unfold. To hear Jose Maldonado tell it,
It was quite a scary thing.
captures the terror these hostages must have been feeling.
I just got off the bus, and sure enough, it was a bank robbery in progress. It just started.
Maldonado watched, and the bank doors slowly opened.
There was 3 guys, had 3 guns and 3 hostages, and they had the guns to the hostages' heads.
3 women held at point-blank range. Maldonado could feel their fear.
And they were petrified. You
could see their faces.
Oh, their faces were white. They were just so scared.
Maldonado watched as the hostages were led to an SUV in the bank parking lot. Turns out it was one of the hostages' own cars.
They were crying. They were very upset, and they one by one they had the hostages drive for them, and they got into the car, and the cops were surrounding the I think it was an Explorer or something like that, and they surrounded the car, and they couldn't shoot at them, because they were so close to the hostages, and they just drove right out of the parking lot right here.
A nightmare getaway that would soon turn deadly. A bank robbery turned hostage crisis, ending in the worst way.
It was something that I'll never forget.
Truly a terrifying account, and talk about timing. There was a notice on this front door of this bank branch that states that this bank had intended to be closed for good this coming Friday, just 2 days away.
That's amazing to think that 2 days from now that this would not have happened, that it would have been closed. My goodness. Okay, Steve.
Very chilling indeed. Well, tonight, friends and family are mourning the hostage who was killed in this ordeal. She was a wife and a mother.
So we go to Rob McAllister. He continues our coverage tonight with the outpouring of love, and this is such a tragic story, Rob.
Yeah, not only for Misty, but also for the family of Misty, especially the daughter, because what we're learning is that she may have been stranded at the bank while Misty was being taken hostage by these 3 men, not knowing whether or not her mom was alive or dead. Misty Holt Singh, a mother and a wife seen here smiling, lost her life after being taken hostage at the Bank of the West on Thornton Road. Friends and family of the Franklin High graduate wrote sympathy messages on Misty's Facebook page. They read, "Misty, you're an awesome woman, and my heart goes out to you and your family." And another, "I can't believe this. R.I.P. Misty." Within minutes after the pursuit ended, we spoke to Misty's brother-in-law. At the time, he did not know of her fate.
Well, it'll be relief once I know what's going on. As long as I know my sister-in-law and everybody else that was involved is okay.
After the interview, Agent Singh rushed back to his niece. Misty's 12-year-old daughter was stranded at the bank after her mother was taken hostage by the 3 men. Minutes later, Misty was shot and killed inside the blue SUV.
It's not something you want to hear in the middle of the day. You don't wake up or go to your job thinking that something like this is going to happen to you.
Now, there's been a lot of outpouring support for Misty tonight as she grew up right here in Stockton, but she was not the only hostages. There was 2 others, both of them shot, either jumped or were thrown out of the vehicle during this pursuit. And now we did get an identity on one of them. Her name is Kelly Huber. She did work at the bank. Now, we did talk to neighbors earlier today, and they described her as one of the friendliest, nicest people that they could ever meet. And they really said that it is amazing to know that she was part of this. They were fearful. They had really a gut-turning feeling about this, but we also were able to confirm that this was in fact Kelly Huber's Ford Explorer that was used during this pursuit and gun battle with police here in Stockton. And they really just say again how lucky they are to hear that she is alive tonight, but what a hard thing to hear that your neighbor had gone through such an ordeal.
Yeah, my heart kind of dropped, and I'm concerned. I want to know what happened, if she was involved and if she's okay, and I just hope that, everything's okay with her.
Now, there was one other hostage. We were not able to identify them as well, but she was taken to the hospital for a bullet injury as well. So a very scary night here in Stockton. And again, 2 of the hostages taken to the hospital for gunshot wounds. The other, unfortunately, passing away.
3 women just doing business in a bank, and their lives changed forever on this day. Okay, thank you very much for that, Rob. Bank of the West released a statement today, reading in part, "This is a tragic incident, and we are focused on supporting our customers and employees. Of course, we are fully supporting law enforcement. We will provide updates as we are able to do so to respect the privacy of those involved. We will not be providing more information about the individuals at this time." This is now the 3rd time this same bank branch has been robbed in the past 2 years. In 2012, a Stockton man pleaded guilty to robbing that bank, along with 5 other banks in the Central Valley and the Bay Area. Then on January 31st of this year, 2 gunmen robbed the same Bank of the West branch. They fled in an employee's car similar to today's robbery. Officers were able to find the car, but not the suspects. Our coverage of this developing story does not end here. You can follow the very latest updates on our website at cbssacramento.com. Shannon?
And Sam, we continue to track storms in the high country, and I'm here with Dave in the Weather Center with where we stand right now.
We're kind of going through like round 2, and they're kind of falling apart, but what we're watching, of course, will be the potential for additional thunderstorm activity over the next several days. And these are slow movers, prompting some flash flooding concerns. So what we're looking at are some wraparound storms kind of coming in off the northeast and heading down toward the southwest and kind of falling apart, trying to get down into the foothills. But this is round 2. Earlier today, we had numerous thunderstorms, primarily south of, say, Bear Valley, all the way down toward Yosemite, with concerns around the rimfire burn area. So that is why, at least until we get into Friday evening, we will have a flash flood watch issued for the areas you see there in green. Now, the big question is, will we see any of those storms rumble down here into the valley as we go through our Thursday? We'll have that answer here in just a little bit. Back over to you guys. You either execute him or put him back in general population. I'm tired of paying to keep this guy alive.
He has waited 3 decades for his sister's killer to be executed, and now it may never happen. Why a judge ruled the California death penalty is unconstitutional.
My heart went out to them, and I just knew it was going to be me.
Connected by a kidney, a man in desperate need of a donation. How a social media post saved his life.
Well, you may have seen the infomercial, the weight loss claim that has one company returning millions of dollars to its customers.
Lifesaver. A police officer works to save a 2-year-old drowning victim. What he did to bring that boy back to life is all caught on camera when we're back in 60 seconds. A life-saving rescue by an officer caught on video here. The policeman's department-issued body camera was rolling when he responded to a call for help after a 2-year-old fell into a swimming pool. This shows the officer and the child's aunt working together to save the little boy by doing chest compressions and breathing for the boy as well. We are told that little boy has now made a full recovery.
Okay, that's awesome.
Isn't that unbelievable?
Yeah, that's just great stuff.
Good for them. Okay. 1 year ago, a simple Facebook post led to a life-saving gift.
It was the vehicle. It was the vehicle that drove all of this.
A local man was desperately seeking a kidney when his wife posted a status update asking for donors.
Well, they got a quicker response than they ever imagined. New tonight, CBS 13's Kelly Ryan with how social media connected two families forever.
It began with bad news. Joseph Jack needed a kidney, and the list was long waiting for a kidney donation. Doctors suggested social media, and that's when his wife turned to Facebook.
This is what I posted. Have you ever considered becoming a live organ donor?
Deanna Jack felt she had nothing to lose and her husband's life to gain when she posted that line on Facebook.
Generally, I'm not one to put a lot of information on the internet.
This was different. Diagnosed with diabetes at 22, doctors told Joseph Jack at 48 he was in renal failure.
I didn't see anyone that was going to come and sweep me off my feet and give me a kidney.
Then doctors at UC Davis gave wife Deanna an idea. Take advantage of social media. A casual acquaintance, Kathy Madison, came across that Facebook post.
My heart went out to them, and I just knew it was going to be me.
When she found out she was a match, she called Joe.
Words can't describe how I felt. It was an amazing feeling.
Today, on the one-year anniversary of the kidney donation, Joe and wife Dion surprised Kathy at work. Truly grateful to his wife and to Kathy, he admits it's been an incredible experience with a new long-lasting connection he'd never guessed came from Facebook.
We're intertwined now, and we are very close. I mean, I tell her I love her, and I mean it when I say it.
Joseph and Kathy are both doing well with no side effects. They are hoping that others turn to social media, specifically Facebook, to look for the connection with donors and recipients. Doctors who suggested social media to begin with say they are even surprised that they got a connection so quickly.
Okay, well, people living in Folsom will be paying less for water. Let's go to Dave at the drought desk with more on this.
I know, who would think in a drought that you'd be paying less for water, but water rates are dropping for Folsom residents in the East Area Water District, and here's why. The drop comes after the district made money by selling some water down the river. The City Council voted to reduce the water surcharge last night from $12 a month to $4.20 per month for the residents there. Now, Lady Gaga is joining the effort to conserve water in California.
A music video at California landmark, Hearst Castle. And while I was there, I learned about the necessity of water conservation.
Yes, that's international pop star right there. Lady Gaga released a PSA to raise awareness about the scarcity of water during our drought here in the West. She's asking the public to do what they can to save water. It's part of a partnership with the state's drought awareness program. All right, I'm sure you're aware that the weather is a lot cooler than it could be for this time of the year. That's courtesy of a couple of things. Again, the cloud cover from the monsoon, and also some marine air really kicking in. In fact, we could have a few low clouds come in to parts of, say, the southern Sacramento Valley tomorrow morning, because it's starting to thicken up and try to get into the western edges of the Delta right now. We'll show you all that here in a second. Okay, so right now we have an 88-degree afternoon high in Sacramento when we should be in the low to mid 90s, so that's nice. 87 for Stockton, 89 for Modesto, and records are way into the triple digits. So we're stealing another actual great day temperature-wise for July from Mother Nature. And look at these numbers. Right now we have 69 in Sacramento, 68 for Stockton, 71 around Modesto. It's a little warmer up in the high country compared to here. We are cooler than we were 24 hours ago by 9 degrees. We have a strong sustained southwest wind at 23 in Fairfield with gusts to about 32 to 35 miles per hour. So through the overnight hours into the early morning hours, we do have a wind advisory for the Delta, and the marine layer is about 2,000 feet thick. So we're starting to draw some of that stratus in here. So that's a good indication that we're going to look for another cool day for tomorrow. However, in the high country, we'll continue with the potential for some thunderstorms. They'll refire tomorrow, and we'll watch that. And that's why, since these are going to be slow movers, potentially along the crest line up here, we could have some elevated flood danger. And if we have dry lightning strikes, that's always a case of potentially some elevated fire danger. So you can see here, satellite radar combined, there's all that moisture that we've been dealing with. So for tomorrow, we're looking at very pleasant temperatures here in the valley, possibly a few low clouds sneaking in through the Delta. We'll have to see how that all comes together. And again, possibly some thunderstorm activity right up there along the crest crest line. But all good, especially down here in the valley and the foothills, because the temperatures are feeling pretty good. So there's your futurecast. High country tomorrow afternoon. Boom. As we go on to the evening hours, most likely we'll see those things wind down, and potentially it looks like the marine layer over toward the west here, we still could see some of this try to penetrate on in as we get on into our late Thursday. So here's your forecast overnight. A few clouds. Some of that could be that stratus trying to sneak in. Definitely gusty out there. Then tomorrow, feeling fine temperature-wise. A little bit breezy, but we'll take it because 85 to 90 in the middle of July is awesome. Hour by hour, we'll start it out with a few clouds, and then by the afternoon, we're warming up into the mid-80s, and that's about where we're going to top out, maybe the upper 80s at the warmest by tomorrow evening. Breezy, 8 o'clock, and 73 degrees. And it is July, so I know you're thinking, any triple digits? We'll have that answer here in a bit. Now, you can stay informed wherever you go with the weather changes with the CBS 13 weather app. You can get live radar, up-to-date alerts, and watch our latest weather forecast. And we're working on some new personalized, sort of custom things you can only get on that app here. We're going to talk about that more as we get closer to that. Also, just go to CBS13.com and click on the link, and you can get your app. But back over to you.
All right, thanks, Dave.
Sure.
In-flight emergency. What a California couple was shocked to find out was not on board when their plane filled with smoke.
I just knew it would be a good thing.
An 86-year-old man with a message for young adults. Call your mom. The inspiring reason for his reminder.
And a ringing phone, relentless text striking fear in some involved in relationships, the new form of domestic abuse, and why you may not even realize you're a victim.
California man's friendly reminder. He wants you to call your mother. Alan Phillips never had a mom, so he's making sure that other people reach out to theirs.
New tonight, Kaj Goldberg spoke to the 86-year-old about the inspiration behind his message.
Well, I did it like that, and I didn't think about it much. I just knew it would be a good thing. That's all I knew.
86-year-old Alan Phillips has done something very simple. It's so simple that most people wouldn't even notice, but many in this Covina community have noticed, and it's changed lives.
People do see you out there and say hi. I mean, they enjoy the message.
The message is simple. Call your mother. She worries. Phillips, a retired salesman, saw the sign at a local Goodwill store. At first glance, the sign and the quote struck a chord deep in his soul. But why mom? What makes a mother so special in our lives? Alan believes that the answer is simple.
It's where we came from. And as important as the fathers are, the mothers still got that little extra importance.
And it's that wisdom that has given Alan a fan club. He can barely make it down the block without a wave, a honk from a passing car, or posing for a picture. But it's the responses that he gets that mean the most to him.
I'm going to call her now. I'll call her later. I want a picture of that to show to my son or daughter.
Then there are the times when people tell him that they haven't seen or spoken to their moms in a long time, and that worries him.
Is it guilt? Is it because of my particular relationship with my mother?
Either way, Alan Phillips says that he'll continue to remind people to call their mothers. Plus, he doesn't mind all the attention he's getting.
I love it.
I bet he does. Alan says if you take anything from this story, it's to remember to call your mom.
All new at 10.
And that waist-sized boulder, I couldn't move my right leg back behind me fast enough.
Survival story. The hiker hurt and stranded alone in the Sierra. How he survived and the one thought that kept him going.
What in the world? Not your typical bug be gone. How one teenager risked his whole house just to kill a spider.
This is a slap in the face not only to the families, but I think to every citizen.
He's waited more than 3 decades for his sister's killer to be executed, why a ruling by a federal judge may keep death row inmates in California alive.
It's all new and next on the CBS 13 News at 10. Getting answers from Sacramento's most watched late news. This is the CBS 13 News at 10.
A federal judge just ruled California's death penalty is unconstitutional, and one Sacramento man says it's a slap in the face.
I guarantee you these lawyers that are fighting for these guys or the judges that are overturning these things have not had this happen in their life or to their family.
He lost his sister in a cold-blooded murder, and for more than 3 decades, her killer has sat on death row.
CBS 13's Maria Medina is live now with more on what he fears about this ruling, what it means for death row inmates and families who are involved in all of this, Maria.
And guys, there are right now 748 death row inmates, including Michael Morales. He killed Brian Chalk's sister, and now Brian wonders, especially after this ruling, if he'll ever be executed.
The system's broke. It's not working. Over 30 years on death row, it's not working.
Since 1981, Terry Winchell's family's waited for her killer to be executed.
He's cold-hearted, and he needs to die.
And they came close in 2006. But 2 hours before Michael Morales' execution, the state put executions on hold.
You either execute him or put him back in general population. I'm tired of paying to keep this guy alive.
And now Brian Chalk says Wednesday's ruling by a federal judge is just another blow to his family and the hundreds of others waiting for justice to be served. Right now, 748 inmates sit on death row.
This is a slap in the face not only to the families, but I think to every citizen.
Federal Judge Cormac Carney overturned the death sentence for convicted rapist and killer Ernest Jones, saying he and other death row inmates await execution with complete uncertainty as to when or even whether it will ever come. The judge calls California's death penalty system dysfunctional, causing delays that make the promise of execution an empty one.
I would want the judge to make sure the lawyers don't get in the way and to follow through with the penalty.
For Brian, he says the ruling is just another delay and not a fix to a broken system that promised to sentence his sister's murderer to death 3 decades ago.
I guarantee you these lawyers that are fighting for these guys or the judges that are overturning these things have not had this happen in their life or to their family, because if they have, they would not be doing this.
And Brian says this ruling tells death row inmates and other future death row inmates that they can kill and they will not be executed. By the way, Brian and his family, they sued to get Morales executed a couple years ago, and they are still waiting.
Okay, Maria, thank you very much for the live report tonight. A third person has been arrested in connection with 2 fights that left 1 person dead and 5 others shot and injured.
Sacramento County Sheriff's deputies arrested 28-year-old James Wallace. He's accused of attempted murder. Detectives say the fights happened on Sunday morning behind a restaurant on Fulton Avenue. 2 other suspects were arrested yesterday. The Folsom woman accused of killing a Google executive on his yacht in Santa Cruz says she's not guilty. Alex Tickleman stood before a judge pleading not guilty of manslaughter nor of drug crimes and prostitution. Her bail remains at $1.5 million. Tickleman is accused of injecting 51-year-old Forrest Hayes with heroin last year and leaving him to die. Her attorneys say she didn't intend to kill.
To demonize and sensationalize and totally blame Alex Tickleman for his death is misplaced, unfair, and simply wrong. This case is about 2 adults who were engaged in mutual consensual drug usage.
If convicted of all charges, Tickleman could face up to 15 years in prison.
Now to a remarkable story of survival. A California hiker alone and injured on a mountain for 6 days. He was stranded with a broken leg, and he ate bugs to survive.
Lamore Abrams in Fresno tells us how this hiker concentrated on staying strong.
A week ago, Gregory Hine could only dream of being in a hospital wheelchair. He was lying in a bed of rocks, stranded on top of the Sierra, 11,000 feet up. He had slipped on the way up, and a boulder came crashing down on his leg, smashing it badly.
And that waist-sized boulder, I couldn't move my right leg back behind me fast enough. It landed on my calf, on the back part, sent the bones through the front.
Hine is an experienced climber and outdoorsman who works as a river rafting guide and used his trekking pole and the frame of his backpack to make a splint. He crawled a mile down icy, rocky paths with a broken leg, using the left side of his body to avoid sliding.
My right heel on my left hand and used my left foot and my right hand to maneuver over rocks the first 4 days.
There were moments he thought he'd die, something that never really hit him until he snapped out of it and restored hope.
You can't dwell there or it kind of incapacitates you. So
He ate crickets and moths and drank from a lake to survive. And Thursday morning, after a week on the mountain, a helicopter spotted him.
you blow the whistle and yell, but you don't always know what exactly it is. So.
He has a compound fracture in his leg and an ugly infection that'll require plastic surgery. His parents did a lot of praying.
I don't care about the broken leg. He's alive and well, and we're going to get our son back.
It's your son, and your heart is breaking. And to be able to see him, and when our eyes connected, and it's like you're back.
Truly amazing. Well, Hine is scheduled to have more surgeries next week. Once he's fully recovered, he says he wants to sign up for law school. A steer in Grass Valley is getting a new lease on life after escaping death twice.
The steer's name is Panda. It was doused with kerosene, then lit on fire a year ago in Paso Robles. The black and white steer suffered severe burns across his back and head, but made a miraculous recovery. But just months later, after everything he went through, he faced another threat to his life.
He was going to be sent to the auction next week, where he basically would have just gone straight to the slaughterhouse.
Well, luckily for Panda and a donor, luckily for Panda, a donor stepped in and paid to send him to his new home, the Animal Place Sanctuary in Grass Valley. The man who allegedly set Panda on fire, by the way, will face felony animal cruelty charges tomorrow in San Luis Obispo. An up-and-coming gaming company just received $3 million in terms of an investment. This is not a Silicon Valley company we are talking about tonight. Fifth Planet Games is based in Rockland.
And CBS 13's Tony Lopez is giving us a look at the company that has made big growth in just 4 years.
Fifth Planet Games has come a long way from its beginnings, with a couple guys trying to create a video game out of a garage.
They pooled together all the money they had and did the best they could to make a game that they thought was outstanding.
Today, the Rockland company, which creates mobile and web games, has 70 employees and is growing fast. So fast, local investors just gave the company $3 million to keep growing.
We were making money, we were a profitable company, but it was a situation where we felt like we could really take that to the next marketing level, and we're launching some new titles here in the next couple months.
Chief Technology Officer David Lease and President Braden Moulton gave us a tour of the Fun at Work tech company.
We have mobile development taking place over here.
Their office is complete with Nerf guns, video games, and a stocked kitchen.
The freedom to do that stuff and get everything done it's hard to find elsewhere.
You might be able to find it in Silicon Valley, but database administrator Keith Wells likes the family atmosphere at Fifth Planet, something you might not find at a big tech company.
It's easy to communicate with one another and get a product that way.
Executives here think the $3 million investment is a sign of tech growth in the Sacramento region.
And we have a great talent pool here. We have outstanding employees, and the local government and whatnot has been overwhelmingly enjoyable to work with.
Well, Mr. Lease tells us their games get 250,000 players a month. There's no release date on their new games yet. He says they'll likely be mobile games. In tonight's sports report, tonight the Oakland A's have a new lease at the Coliseum.
The Oakland City Council approved a 10-year lease. Fans trashed the plan. They say the plan still offers no guarantees that the A's would have a future in Oakland and makes no room for the new Raiders Stadium if it were ever to be built. It still needs to be approved, by the way, by the county. Workers at Levi Stadium are putting the finishing touches on the 49ers' new home.
Tomorrow is supposed to be its ribbon-cutting ceremony, but as Len Ramirez tells us, there's still work to be done.
Are you ready for some football? The president of the 49ers says Levi Stadium is.
Knowing that there might be a kink or two here or there, we're good to go. We could play a football game today if we wanted to.
It's the last official day of the stadium's 2-year construction phase before tomorrow's ribbon cutting and the first paid event in August. The big picture shows construction crews have tackled everything major. More than 68,000 seats are installed. The scoreboard is ready to light up the first 6 points, and the field is as green as the recycled water can get it. But zoom into the corners and you can still see workers putting on the finishing touches, washing the windows and polishing almost every surface.
We got our certificate of occupancy, at least our temporary one, the other day, and in fact yesterday was the first day I could walk in here without a hard hat and safety goggles and a vest. I almost felt naked coming in here without any of that stuff on.
That's not to say everything is ready. The 49er Museum and a steak and pub house on the ground floor are still about a month away from opening. But it's all looking good to football fans who climb to the top of a parking garage for a better look, including one 49er faithful from North Dakota who put a stadium stop on his summer plans.
I think it looks amazing. It's I wish I lived here. I wish I could come back more often. But
another fan getting his first look said the 49ers and their home fields have come a long way since he was a kid and first saw them play at Kezar Stadium in 1946.
I think it's better than what I thought it would be.
Well, the first 49ers game at the new stadium will be on August 17th. It is a preseason game.
And they're going to be matching up against the reigning AFC champion, that, of course, being the Denver Broncos. Christina?
All right, time now for What in the World. And emotions, of course, are running high surrounding this immigration crisis here in the United States, especially yesterday in Arizona. That's when an Arizona congressional candidate rushed to protest a bus full of migrant children coming to the state. He spoke and he tweeted about seeing the fear in the kids' faces. But it turns out those kids were YMCA kids headed to camp, not taking shelter. He later apologized and deleted that tweet. A lighter and spray paint, not your typical tools for killing a spider, but a Washington teen found out the hard way after he nearly burned down his family's home. Seattle firefighters say that fire started after the teen used that combination to try and kill that spider, and fire crews got there. They quickly put out the flames before they spread to neighboring homes. And who needs a toothbrush when you have a pet rat? Check that out. This guy lets his rat clean his teeth. The video called Rat Toothbrush on YouTube is getting a lot of views. And while that rat is cleaning a man's teeth, you can hear the woman in the background saying, "Tooth cleaner, put a light on this girl. She likes to clean our teeth." All I have to say about that one is gross.
No, they're white. They look good.
Ew, ew. Of all things for you to say tonight.
Great. I mean, if it works.
That's disgusting. Disgusting.
4 out of 5 dentists surveyed is what Bender says.
Gosh, that is disturbing.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And so is this, a disturbing discovery. What one family learned that a plane didn't have on board during an in-flight emergency.
And an unlikely pairing, the two rival computer companies teaming up, and what it means for you.
In mid-July is feeling pretty good temperature-wise out there. We'll show you if we can keep those pleasant temps going for the next 7 days. All that coming up.
at 36,000 feet when smoke filled the cabin of a United flight from LAX to Hawaii. That's when one family made a shocking discovery that spurred them into action to protect passengers on future flights.
New tonight, Jeff Nguyen tells us they're warning to parents who are traveling with kids.
They're going to escort us into Los Angeles.
A mom tries to calm her infant daughter as people hug one another during a mid-air emergency at 30,000 feet.
We're gonna be okay. I love you.
Cell phone video captured Johanna Dubiak and her husband, Nick Bercuda, on United Airlines Flight 1296 during an emergency landing in which smoke filled the cabin. They were traveling with their daughter Alva, who was 1 day shy of her first birthday.
And we love our little 1-year-old, almost 1-year-old.
The Costa Mesa couple was sitting in row 30 last May when their flight from LAX to Kona had to be turned around. They say initially their oxygen masks didn't deploy. Then they were asked to put on their life vests.
I flagged down one of the flight attendants and asked the flight attendant for an infant life vest. She stated that there were no infant life vests on board.
The fact that it was not stocked with infant life vests is mind-blowing.
The couple was told to strap an adult life vest on Alva, which her parents say was simply too big. They feel they're qualified to make such a judgment because Dad is a battalion chief for Southern California Fire Department and Mom is an OBGYN.
But the straps themselves, I felt, were dangerous. They were loose, they were all over her. There was no way they could be cinched down.
The plane did make it back to LAX safely with an escort, which you can hear during this announcement.
We have the fighter jets, one on either side of our aircraft, one on the right and one on the left, so don't be alarmed.
The couple had to board another plane to continue their trip to Kona, and before their return flight, they made numerous attempts to reach United to see if an infant life vest would be available this time around. They say they never got a straight answer. However, a booking agent did offer some advice.
He then went on to say if it were me, I would go out and buy an infant life vest for my family member to take on board. Oh, and by the way, you can take it on as carry-on luggage.
This is the vest they bought. As it turned out, the return flight didn't have a vest for Alva. United sent us a statement reading, "Each of our aircraft that travel over water are equipped with all required flotation devices." But we found the FAA doesn't have specific requirements for children's life preservers. Peter Greenberg is the travel editor for CBS News.
The bottom line here is this. Are there enough flotation devices for every passenger on the plane? Yes. Will they be effective if they don't fit? Maybe not.
We checked with other big airlines flying to Hawaii out of LAX. Hawaiian, American, Alaska Airlines, and Delta all do provide infant life vests. Allegiant does not. Johanna Dubiak acknowledges water landings are rare, and that's why she didn't think about them until a smoke detector sounded off.
And I think parents need to be proactive and ask questions, and the questions might seem like, no, it'd be obvious that they would have that, but that proactiveness might even save somebody's life. You never know.
Well, Jeff says United now says they plan to equip all aircraft with infant life vests as it updates its fleet. Google company officials say they're hiring hackers to help make the internet safer. The tech giant announced the development of a team of hackers that will work to discover bugs and look for security vulnerabilities. The primary goal of Project Zero, as it is called, is to prevent another cyber attack like the Heartbleed bug.
Refund checks are going out to those who bought the Ab Circle Pro.
We call in Curtis Ming now with the weight loss claim the feds say is not true.
Well, guys, who wouldn't want to get six-pack abs by working out for just 3 minutes a day?
You'll firm and flatten your stomach in just weeks, not months. We guarantee it. Risk-free in your home.
The feds claim these ads for Ab Circle Pro were deceptive. Can you really lose 10 pounds in 2 weeks using this thing? The company settled, and now 200,000 customers will get checks averaging about $48. You may be the victim of high-tech domestic abuse and not even know it. Experts say it goes beyond constant calls and text messages. Callers into the National Domestic Violence Hotline are reporting their partners are tracking their calls and what they do online.
Asking for passwords
two more extreme cases is where partners create fake identities on Facebook to see if they can get their partner to engage with someone else, and then accusing them of cheating and flirting inappropriately.
Some are even using tracking apps to monitor their partner's locations. Experts say if it rises to the level of stalking or harassment, you may want to get law enforcement involved. One-time rivals Apple and IBM are teaming up. The companies plan to create about 100 apps for iPhones and iPads. They'll also target business clients this fall, with Apple and IBM selling devices preloaded with industry-specific apps. Hershey candy prices just went up. That includes Kisses, Mr. Goodbar, Whoppers, now up about 8%. The company blames the rising cost of ingredients like cocoa and dairy and increasing transportation costs. And we're now helping you with your consumer problems weeknights at 5 and 10. Here's what you'll see tomorrow at 5.
She shipped this antique chair that was in her family for generations. It was returned broken.
Looks like someone threw it.
Why won't the shipper refund her shipping fee or pay her insurance claim? We'll see about that only on the CBS 13 News at 5.
And if you have a consumer problem you can't resolve, maybe we can. You call our hotline Monday through Friday, or better yet, head to our website. It's cbssacramento.com. Click on Call Curtis and fill out our form. Guys?
All right, Curtis, temps are heating up a little bit on the 7-day forecast. We're going to show you if that means we may have some 100s ahead. That answer next. Welcome back. Live look at downtown Sacramento. Old Glory pointing off to the right-hand side of the screen there. So it usually means you got a strong southerly and southwest wind. We have that. Wind advisory in the Delta, maybe gusts into the 40s there. And we could bring in a few low clouds to start out tomorrow morning. Definitely in the Delta, possibly into Sacramento. Right now in Sacramento, 68. Stockton, 68. Modesto, 71. Marysville, 73. And South Lake Tahoe currently 70 degrees. So warmer in the Sierra than down here in the valley. And you can see we are definitely cooler than we should be at this time of the year. Normals for now would be between about 90 and 95. We hit the upper 80s for Sacramento, Stockton, and Modesto. Low 90s up toward Yuba City. So we do have a few thunderstorms starting to fall apart right here. And for the most part, circulation's kind of going like that. So we're just kind of wrapping around some of the subtropical moisture, that monsoon flow that we've been tapping off and on over the last couple of days. So for tomorrow, most likely in the high country, again, we'll see a few thunderstorms fire up. And of course, over here toward the coast with the marine layer at about 2,000 feet thick, we could draw on a few low clouds into the Delta. We'll definitely have patchy fog over there, thunderstorms in the high country, and that could continue off and on over the next couple of days. And some of these may be pretty slow moving, so that's why we have that flash flood watch at least until Friday evening for the higher elevations up there because of that potential slow moving thunderstorm activity. So some morning fog in the Delta, maybe a few clouds to start there. Morning fog to the Bay Area, a few clouds into the Delta. Otherwise, breezy conditions on into the valley as well. Flash flood watch up in the high country. 7-day forecast shows you know what? Great temperatures. We warm up a little bit, but not bad as we go into Tuesday and Wednesday. So pretty good, I must say, as we roll on through the middle of July. All right, in tonight's Bender Show Ender, why Buzz Aldrin is more than a space pioneer, how he was decades ahead of social media as we know it. Get ready for Space Selfies next. In tonight's Bender Show Ender, you probably think the millennials invented the selfie. Well, think again. It was 1966, Gemini 12, and Buzz Aldrin. You see, Buzz was in charge of taking star pictures, but those can only be taken during the nighttime portion of Gemini's orbit. So during the daylight portion, Buzz, get ready, took some selfies.
What's the picture's going to look like? I didn't realize that I was pioneering The selfies. Another claim to fame for Buzz.
He's a funny guy. So there you have it. One small click for Buzz, one giant click for social media kind.
So
All right,
that's where it
beautiful.
started.
Time for us to all head home and let the rats clean our teeth.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
He just can't let it go.
Thinking of that tonight.
Wow.
Great. Good night.
You love it.